global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
As Mr Tinubu is getting applauded over his victory against 36 governors of the state as against the financial autonomy of the local government. However, two strong personalities have spoken up against the verdict. First was Ibori, but right now it's actually the Kinsmen of Tinubu that are lambasting the Supreme Court over their verdict, and they clearly pointed out what it is intended for. Don't forget that Ibori talked about defrauding federalism as a system of government practiced by Nigeria. But then Afenifere took out time to explain what they are envisaging and what Nigeria will be seeing in the nearest future. Call it unitary government, you won't be wrong. Let's dive into full details of what they say. And according to the news, the Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization Afenifere has expressed strong disapproval of the recent Supreme Court decision that affirmed fiscal autonomy for local government areas in Nigeria. In a press statement released in Akure and signed by its leader, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, and National Publicity Secretary Prince Justice Faloye, the group described the verdict as harmful to the structure of the Nigerian state. According to the statement, Afenifere believes that the Supreme Court's ruling undermines the federalism structure of Nigeria by promoting unitary system through the back door. The group argues that true federalism should allow states to exercise control over their local government areas, including financial matters, to ensure that local governance is tailored to the unique needs of each state. According to his statement, and I quote, he said, Afenifere views the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case filed by the federal government on the so-called local government autonomy as shared judicial conspiracy in cahort with the Tinubu's administration against the Nigerian state and its foundational principle of federalism, rather than interpret the constitution to uphold its elementary but overriding federal principle, which recognizes only two tiers federal structures of the central government and federating states. The Supreme Court played to the gallery and wittingly allowed itself a most retrogressive declaration that the power of the government is portioned into three arms of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. For the avoidance of any doubt, Afenifere make bold to say that, in line with its negotiated basis of existence, Nigeria is a federation consisting of states and a federal capital territory, as affirmed by subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. While Afenifere frowns at corruption and misuse of public funds at levels of government, it condemns in most unmistaken terms the subjugation of the states and its constitutional rule, including the local government system, to the whims and caprices of the federal government by any means, including obvious manipulation of the federation account, as in the present case. The 1999 Constitution, which in spite of its flaws gives life and power to the Supreme Court, provides in section 162 and particularly subsection 6 that each state should maintain a specific or a special account to be called a state joint local government account, into which shall be paid all allocation to the local government council of the state from the federation account and from the government of the state. Against this ambiguous provision of the Supreme Court held that the Supreme Court held that demands of justice require a progressive interpretation of the law. It is the position of this court that the federation can pay local government allocation to the local government directly or pay them through the states. In this case, since paying them through states has not worked, justice of this case demands that local government allocation from the federation account should henceforth be paid directly to the local government. Contrary to these invented alternative routes, Section 162 of the Constitution is not ambivalent about the process and routes through which all allocation to the local government council of the state from the federation account and from the government of the state shall become payable to the council. In other words, the interpretation does not require a voyage into jurisprudential sophistry leading to the absurdity of deliberate judicial amendment of the ground norms. By wittingly or inadvertently equating the Nigerian Federation with the federal government in the erroneous belief that both expressions are used interchangeably, such that the president may withhold funds to the credit of the local government from the federation account under the guise of having no democratically elected officials, which is obviously subject to the interpretation by the federal government. The apex court has not only done incalculable, I'll take that again, say the apex court has not only done incalculably injury to the Nigerian state, it has lent itself to setting aside its president in the hallowed judgment against the president Obasanjo administration, withholding funds to the credit of local government in Lagos State, even when the Supreme Court agreed that the local government development authority created by then Governor Tinubu were incoherent and fell short of constitutional requirement. It is becoming stringently eloquent that with just over a year of its inauguration, the Tinubu's government, more than even the military administration, is uncannily determined to unitarize the Nigerian Federation. Part of the unitary package is the creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development, which is the audacious euphemism for the reintroduction of cattle colony, that is ROGA, and those other policies by which the Buhari administration sought to appropriate lands in the state, contrary to the provision of the Land Use Act and the Constitution, which vast land in the state in the governor's interest for the people, whole interest for the people. Afenifere insists that the way forward for Nigeria is not the confusing, rudderless tinkering, but holistic restructuring of the polity to reenact the fundamental principle of true federalism as agreed by the founding fathers. These include the fact that the local government system is an exclusive preserve of the state, either by direct constitutional provision or residual power. And in summary, what Afenifere is trying to say is that by virtue of the verdict of the Supreme Court on the issue of financial autonomy of the local government areas, that already the tenets of federalism has been aborted, which is provided for already in this constitution, which is a system of government that is meant to be run by Nigeria. And secondly, they pointed out that Tinubu, considering the fact that he knows that not less than 18 states in Nigeria are currently running the CTC system, that's caretaker committee chairman and members in local government, that's the about 18 states governors are currently employing the services of caretaker committee chairman and members. And that he, knowing that that is what is happening, has decided to, that the judiciary has helped him now to secure for himself a reasonable portion of the finances, which already we know they may likely not pay, you understand, at the end of the, even if they carry out, elections. Don't forget that elections is meant to be held for some state 6 months from now, some 3 months from now, some 2 months from now. So by the time the whole of this month, they are not going to pay that 20% from the federation account. It will leave the federal government with so much money that after a while, we will see a situation whereby the federal government themselves may not the timely payment of the funds for local government may be aborted by the federal government. It's something that is worth listening to. But right now, Nigeria is still in the euphoria of the verdict given by the Supreme Court. But I think that should be taken into consideration a great deal, because with what they have done, they're kind of creating a backdoor, according to Fenifere, creating a backdoor for unitary system of government, which by virtue of this thing, by the virtue of that verdict, they have paralyzed the states. So the federal government seems to be the one running the affairs of the entire country. They give money to everybody as at when due. They know the amount that they are going to pay to you as at when due. Now, apart from that also, we must not forget that there had been this push and agitation for, restructuring. Don't we think that this is the ideal time for Nigeria to be restructured, so that the federation, that's talking about the central government, will just be getting small money, portion of the earnings of the state on a monthly basis, and for them to collect everything and expect the state and expect themselves to be paying the state any amount that they desire. All of these are some of the questions that Afenifere has raised. And I think it's good enough for us to talk about it in the comment section. Let's meet and talk expressly, especially for those who have legal understanding of what Afenifere is trying to say. Let's take a dive.
Global happenings today.